cornerstone of our organization is innovation. Here to talk to us about new and emerging initiatives are Ben Futransky, Beth Smith, and Ryan Stefani.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Ben Futransky, manager of the New and Emerging Initiatives Department. And in this webinar, we're going to talk about the grant programs that the New and Emerging Initiatives Department supports. I'm joined today by my colleagues Ryan Stefani and Beth Smith. As many of you know, LCIF has many grant programs. Perhaps most famously, the Site First Grant Program, matching grants, disaster grants, Lions Quest grants, and newer grant programs such as diabetes, childhood cancer, hunger, and Leo service. Each grant program has different criteria. Many require local matching funds. Some undergo a rigorous technical review. All require some level of Lions involvement and identity. Clubs can apply for district and club community impact grants. Most LCIF grant programs are applied for at the district or multiple district level. Grant programs managed by the New and Emerging Initiatives Department include childhood cancer pilot grants, hunger pilot grants, Leo service grants, and the district and club community impact grant program. I'd like to ask Ryan Stefani to join us now to talk about childhood cancer pilot grants.
Thank you, Ben. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Lions. My name is Ryan Stefani, and I am a program specialist in the New and Emerging Department. Today, I'll be talking about the Childhood Cancer Pilot Grant Program. This pilot grant program focuses on the familial support of the child cancer patient. So this focuses on the child as well as the family of the child during their treatment process. Next slide, please. The general criteria for this grant is that grants are available between $10,000 US and $150,000 US. Districts and multiple districts are eligible to apply. And there is a matching fund component as well to keep in mind during your application process. 50% in developed countries and 25% in less developed countries. Childhood cancer grants are approved by the Board of Trustees in January, May, and August meetings, and we encourage districts and multiple districts to apply when they are ready so they can be reviewed on an ongoing basis. Next slide, please. Some great examples of past childhood cancer grants are as follows. In District 318E in India, the district constructed a child's library, children's conference hall, and a mini theater at a government-run cancer center. This allowed children to have a safe environment for themselves and their family members to relax while the children were going through cancer treatment. In the United States, District 27E2 constructed a child-friendly waiting room at a clinic that provides cancer treatment to children. And in Taiwan, District 300A3 constructed a child-friendly area at a cancer center, which included a playground, reading space, and multimedia space. Next slide, please. In addition to the childhood cancer pilot program, LCIF has a partnership with the Global Hope Partnership, which improves the cancer treatment of childhood cancer in Uganda, Botswana, and Malawi. This partnership includes a LCIF contribution of $2 million to support infrastructure projects and cancer equipment. It also includes engagement of local Lions, and it is a joint fundraising initiative. Next slide, please. The next grant I will be talking about is the Hunger Pilot Grant Program. The Hunger Grant Program focuses on improving and expanding the operations or projects that are used to facilitate and address hunger within a community. Next slide, please. General criteria for this grant is a little bit different from the childhood cancer grant. These grants are available at $10,000 to $100,000 US. Districts are eligible, districts and multiple districts are eligible to apply. And the matching component for all countries, the local contribution is 25% for all countries, which is different than the 50% that you might find in some countries. And these grants are also approved at the Board of Trustees in January, May, and August. Next slide, please. We have a great example from India, District 318C, which upgraded the kitchens and dining facilities of a rural healthcare center. So this allowed the kitchen to produce more food, and the dining facility is much larger, so they can serve more children throughout the year. The next example we have is in District 300D1. They established a permanent dining room at a feeding center. So this allowed them to not only deliver meals to the elderly at their homes, but also to host community members at their facility. And in District 35N in the United States, a food pantry or food bank was established at a local hospital so that patients were able to take food home with them after they received treatment at the hospital. Next slide, please. And if you have any questions or would like to submit an application for the Childhood Cancer Pilot Grant Program or the Hunger Pilot Grant Program, please feel free to contact us at new.emerging@lionsclubs.org. And now I will pass the presentation over to Beth Smith, who will talk about the LEO service grants and the DCGs.
Thank you, Ryan. My name is Beth Smith. I am another grants program specialist in the New and Emerging Initiatives Department. And as Ryan mentioned, I'm going to talk a little bit about the LEO Service Grant Program. LEO Service Grants are designed to support LEOs with hands-on service or volunteer activities. So with LCIF support, LEOs can make a bigger impact in their communities while also being exposed to valuable leadership and life skills. Next slide. LEO service grants are available in amounts from $1,500 US to $5,000 US. Districts and multiple districts are eligible to apply for the grant program. And successful applications will include a robust hands-on service component. Ideally, this means that LEOs would be hosting a 1 or 2 day large-scale service project with multiple LEO clubs participating. LEOs would be providing hands-on service, or in some cases, the manual labor required to implement the project, and LCIF grant funds could help support them with modest project expenses. Successful applications will also include a strong LEO and Lion collaboration. And the reasoning for this is that we believe that when LEOs and Lions are collaborating on projects, they'll have stronger relationships, and it'll be more likely that LEOs will decide to become Lions in the future. This grant program has a local matching funds requirement. 25% of total project costs must be mobilized by Lions and LEOs locally to support the project. Applications are accepted on a rolling basis, so you can submit an application for the LEO service grant at any time. Next slide, please. Here we have an example of a recent LEO service grant that was approved for District 325B2 in Nepal. The district received $5,000 for LEOs to provide meals to homeless people and senior centers. The LEOs are cooking, packaging, and distributing the meals, while LCIF funds are helping to support the purchase of the meal ingredients. So one important thing to note here in this example is that the Leos are really doing the hands-on service. If Leos were only going to the grocery store and purchasing food and dropping it off at senior centers, that likely would not be eligible because it's more of buying ingredients and delivering them than actual service. So it's important to note here that Leos are actually doing all of the work to cook and package and distribute the meals as well. Next slide, please. If you have any questions regarding the Leo Service Grant Program, please do not hesitate to contact us at lcifleogrants@lionsclubs.org. Next slide, please. Next, we'll talk a little bit about the District and Club Community Impact Grant Program, also known as the DCG Grant Program. The DCG grant is an opportunity for districts and clubs that donate to LCIF to receive a portion of those funds back to support humanitarian projects in their communities. Now we're going to watch a video that does a great job of explaining the program, especially some simple steps for how to apply for a grant once your district or club has qualified. So right now we'll go ahead and watch this explainer video.
Together, Lions and LCIF are changing the world one community at a time. And to thank you for your partnership and service, your foundation has created the District and Club Community Impact Grant. This program is uniquely designed to expand your service and help you make an even greater impact in your communities. DCGs enable clubs and districts to receive grants of up to 15% of their donations to LCIF in a given Lion year. After all, our mission is to support Lions clubs like yours, serving communities near and far. DCGs can keep funds local, helping you impact what matters most, where it matters. Clubs that give at least $5,000 and districts giving at least $10,000 to LCIF's Empowering Service Fund can apply for a DCG and do so every year they're eligible. Funds can be used when they're received or can be accumulated over multiple years for larger projects.
It takes just 5 steps to secure a DCG. First, club members choose a project. For example, Lions Club 1968 decided to host a holiday dinner at a local orphanage and donate toys to the children. The club donated $5,000 to LCIF during the Lion year, making it eligible to receive a grant of $750. Club members considered this when creating a project budget, outlining how they plan to use their DCG funds. Fun fact: DCGs provide the only opportunity for single clubs to access LCIF grant funds. With help from information on Lions Club's website, the club submitted its DCG application. When LCIF shared news that the application had been approved and grant funds were on their way, club members got to work preparing for what turned out to be a heartwarming event that fed the bellies of the local orphanage children, giving them a brighter holiday and future. After celebrating its successful event, the club reported project outcomes to LCIF, which then shared the good news worldwide.
In just 5 easy steps, from project concept to conclusion, Club 1968 brought to life a new annual tradition, delivering holiday cheer to local children. What could your club or district do with funds from a District and Club Community Impact Grant? Provide vision and diabetes screenings? Plant a community vegetable garden? Apply them to matching funds required for another LCIF grant. Each year, LCIF gets in touch with qualifying clubs and districts to thank them for their support and share news of their eligibility and next steps. As you consider the endless possibilities for your club, LCIF is working hard to help Lions worldwide make a difference.
You can visit lionsclubs.org/DCG to learn more, like when to submit an application and what DCGs can be used for. You can also email donorassistance@lionsclubs.org to see how much of your club's or district's donations to LCIF are eligible this Lion year.
Okay, now I'd like to talk a little bit about general DCG eligibility. The program began in Lion's fiscal year 2018-2019 based on donations from 2017-2018. Districts and clubs that meet the minimum donation amount are eligible to receive 15% of their donations back in the form of a DCG grant. The minimum donation amount must be achieved within one fiscal year. And one really important note that we would like to stress is that restricted donations or designated donations are not eligible to count towards DCG eligibility. This means that if you make a donation that's restricted specifically for disaster relief, for childhood cancer, for youth, really any specific or designated donation will not count towards eligibility of the program. The reason for this is that LCIF honors donor intent with their donations. So if a donor tells us they would like 100% of their donation to be used towards a specific area or project, we honor that intent, and therefore we are not able to give 15% of that donation back in the form of a DCG grant. So in order for a donation to qualify, it must be unrestricted, a donation to empowering service, area of greatest need, or a general donation to LCIF. Next slide. Clubs qualify for the DCG program by donating a minimum of $5,000 in one fiscal year. Eligible donations for the club include donations made by the club, by members of the club, or by non-members who are affiliates with the club. Next slide, please. Districts qualify for the DCG grant by donating a minimum of $10,000 in one fiscal year. Eligible district funds are 15% of the donations attributed to the district itself, plus donations from its clubs that do not reach a $5,000 minimum. So in other words, every donation, as long as it's an unrestricted donation, counts towards eligibility of the program. A club can either qualify on its own, or if the club does not qualify, their donations are calculated towards the district's eligibility. Next slide, please. If you have any questions regarding DCG eligibility or your current available DCG balance, or if you have any questions about how that balance was calculated, please contact the LCIF Donor Services Department at donorassistance@lionsclubs.org. Next slide, please. So if your district or club qualifies for the DCG program, you are eligible to receive 15% of your donations back in the form of a DCG grant. And DCG grants can be used to support any humanitarian project. And so that basic criteria allows these grants to be used for a wide variety of projects as long as they're humanitarian in nature and are making a positive impact in your community. DCG grants do not fund membership dues, club or district operational expenses, for example, clubhouse renovations, fundraising activities, or cash giveaways without specific budget for how the funds will be used. So one way to explain this is that LCIF as a foundation is required to keep track of how all of our grant funds are used. And so if you want to do a project, for example, scholarships, or giving a donation to another humanitarian organization in your community, we'll need to know specific details for how the funds will be spent. So in the case of a scholarship, You might need to tell us that the students are specifically going to be paying for tuition, helping purchase school meals throughout the year, or in some cases, perhaps the funds will be helping to pay rent or other living expenses so that the student can stay in school. But we really need to know the specifics of how those grant funds will be used instead of just saying we are giving cash away to students. DCG funds can also be used as the local matching funds requirement for other LCIF grants. So as mentioned previously, our other LCIF grant programs have different criteria, many of which require local matching funds. And so you can use the DCG grant funds available to your club or district as to meet that local matching funds requirement. Next slide, please. Okay, here we have some examples of DCG grants in Constitutional Area 6. District 325B1 in Nepal received $8,500 to purchase food for impacted impacted by COVID-19 and also purchase personal protective equipment for a local health clinic. District 315A2 in Bangladesh received $11,700 to support cataract surgeries for low-income people who would otherwise not have been able to afford the surgery. District 322E in India received $8,472 to provide vision screenings and purchase eyeglasses to distribute to low-income people. And District 306B1 in Sri Lanka received $4,599 to use as their local matching funds requirement for an LCIF matching grant that was approved to help equip a local hospital. There are a wide variety of projects you can do using the DCG grants, again, as long as they are humanitarian in nature. Next slide, please. If you have any questions about the DCG grant program or would like to learn more, please visit our website, lionsclubs.org/DCG. This is also where the video is located that we watched earlier in case you'd like to view that video again or share it with other Lions. And if you have any specific questions about the DCG grant program, please contact us at LCIF District and Club at lionsclubs.org. Next slide, please. Now I'd like to invite Benjamin and Ryan back to the presentation.
Thank you, Beth, and thank you, Ryan, for your presentation today. We hope all the viewers found it informative and helpful to understand these grant programs. If you have any questions, as always, don't hesitate to reach out and contact us. We'd be happy to answer them. Additionally, each of these grant programs has its own web page with additional information. And I'm happy to announce a new resource for Lions, both grant applicants and grantees, called the LCIF Grants Toolkit webpage. And on this Grants Toolkit webpage, we've put all the grant applications, all the report forms, as well as other resources such as new documents called 10 Tips to Apply for an LCIF grant and 10 Tips to Administer an LCIF grant. Best way to find this webpage is to just simply Google LCIF Grants Toolkit, and it should be the top hit. So from all of us at the New and Emerging Initiatives Department, we wish you a very happy and enjoyable ISAME forum, even if it is virtual, and don't hesitate to contact us if we can be of assistance with anything. Thank you.